everyone, and welcome to the Pilates session today on Tuesday. What we're going to go through is a nice gentle session. If at any point you feel any pain, I would like for you to stop that exercise, have a little stretch and then continue on. We are being recorded today, but we shouldn't have you guys involved in that recording. But let's get started. So we're all going to lie down on your back for me. And your knees are going to be bent with your feet hip-width distance apart. From here, I want your hands placed on those hip bones on either side for you. And we're going to start off with a few pelvic tilts. So we're going to take a breath into our bellies, and as we breathe out, we want to draw in our lower tummy towards the back of our spine, and we're going to tuck that pelvis underneath you. You should feel your low back flatten on the ground. As we breathe in, our belly expands and our pelvis tucks down the other way, and our tailbone will push into the ground and the low back will lift. We breathe out, engage those lower abdominal muscles, tucking the pelvis. Try and use your tummy rather than your glute muscles. And then breathe in, expand, and the pelvis tilts in another direction. Breathe out, we tuck under and flatten. Then breathe in and arch. Breathe out, tuck and flatten. Then breathe in and arch. And we're going to do another 3 of those. This is just to get our low back nice and warm, as well as starting to engage those deep core muscles in our lower abdomen. So 2 as we curl under, breathe into arch. Last one, breathe out and tuck, getting those lower tummy muscles to work, and breathe in and arch. So we're going to continue that exercise, but instead now we're going to start lifting our spine off the ground. So we take a breath in to prepare, we breathe out, we tuck our tummy, flattening our low back, and now we're going to peel the spine up off the floor, and you can have your hands beside you. At the top, we should be resting in between our shoulder blades. We take a breath in, and then as we breathe out, we're going to soften our spine back down, one segment at a time, starting from our throat, our mid-back, our low back, and then finally our pelvis. At the bottom, we take another breath in, and then we breathe out, we tuck and engage those lower abdominal muscles, and we peel the spine up segment by segment till we're resting in between those shoulder blades. Taking a breath in at the top, and then we breathe out to roll back down. Now, where you want to feel this one as we continue to do a few more is as we roll and tucking up, we should be engaging through our lower abdominal muscles, our glutes in the back of our legs, and breathing out to come back down. If you're feeling this in your low back, it could be due to a number of reasons, but the most common is that the ribs are lifting too high. So for example, if we roll up, and we go too high so that we're resting on top of our shoulders, it can make our back muscles engage, and breathing out to come down. So if you are feeling this, what I would like for you to do is to make sure your ribs are just gently tucked underneath your lungs as we breathe out and peel up the spine off the floor, breathing in at the top, and then breathing out to come back down. We're going to do another 2, and then we'll go on to our blocks. Taking a breath in at the bottom, we breathe out, engage and roll the spine up, segment by segment. Taking a breath in at the top, and then breathing out, softening and rolling down. Last one, take a breath in, and then breathing out, rolling the spine up, keeping those legs parallel. And then on your next exhale, rolling back down, segment by segment, trying to get that spine to loosen up. Now what you're going to do is you're going to place those hands back on your pelvis. So instead of going up and down like we did before, we're going to go, one side goes up towards the ceiling as the other side goes down towards the floor. So as we breathe out, we still engage through those lower abdominal muscles, and we're going to let your left side reach up towards the ceiling through the pelvis, and your right side will drop down towards the floor. Then we take a breath in to even it back out again, and then we breathe out. We're going to drop the left side this time as the right side reaches up, and you might feel a little bit of lengthening happening in that right leg.
breathing in to level the pelvis out again. And we're going to do 4 more of these, alternating from side to side. Now, the thing we want to be careful of as we do this, and we breathe out and reach up through that right side, is that your waist stays long. So we don't want to have that hitching up towards your ribs. And breathing in to come back. We breathe out, left side reaches up, slight twisting happening through the pelvis with this exercise. And then breathing into level, breathing out, reaching up through the right side, breathing into level, 1 more each side. Left side reaches up, right side drops down, into level, lucky last, right reaches, and we come back to that neutral spine. So now we're going to do that twisting pelvis movement with our bridging, just to get a little bit more of those obliques working as well. So what we're going to do with this one is we're going to breathe out, we engage, we come up with your right hip, and then we tuck and roll the pelvis up. And the hip is leading that movement. We come back at the top as we breathe in to level out that pelvis. The pelvis that you come up with as we breathe out is the one to drop down and roll down. So we're going to go through that one again together. We take a breath in at the bottom, the pelvis is level. We breathe out, we engage. Our right hip leads the movement and it rises up before your left. Now, so we're going to rise up a bit twisted. At the top, we breathe in and level that pelvis out. As we breathe out, keep the tummy engaged. We're going to drop through that right hip and roll the spine back down. Breathing in at the bottom and leveling out. Let's go again. Breathing out, tummy engaged. We tuck. We're going to lift up through the left side. Left pelvis up. We get to the top. We breathe in, the pelvis levels out. And then we breathe out, dropping the left hip and rolling back down through the left side of our spine. Breathing in at the bottom, leveling out. Breathing out, engage, right hips coming up and roll and lift. That right leg's going to be working a little bit harder to get us up here. We breathe in, level the pelvis. Breathing out, that right side comes down as we roll back down. You roll down on that right side of your spine. Breathing in at the bottom, breathing out, we tuck and roll, left side leads this movement. We're going to do 1 more after this one. Breathe in, leveling out, breathe out, we tuck and roll, dropping through that left side. At the bottom, breathing in, last one, and then we're going to breathe out, engage, right side leading that movement, tuck and lift, using that right glute hamstring muscle, breathing in at the top, leveling out, and then breathing out, rolling and dropping through that right hip as we come down. Now at the bottom here, if you feel like your pelvis is a little bit off to the side, don't worry, I'll get you to adjust back to the center now. And we're going to just have our hands on the side and we're going to do a little bit of core stability or pelvic stability with our bend knee fallouts. So with this one, we want to make sure our pelvis is in a nice neutral spine so we're not imprinted or arched, just in a comfortable position with your pelvis flat. We take a breath in to prepare, we breathe out, we engage those lower abdominal muscles and we let the right knee drop out to the side as far as we can without your pelvis following. And in to bring it back in. Breathing out, engage, and dropping the left leg out to the side, and in to bring it back in. Making sure we're not moving your upper leg as we breathe out and drop the right, or move your back or pelvis. This is just to warm up for our next little set where I want the pelvis to be nice and steady. So left side drops out to the side. We're going to do 1 more on each side after this one, and then breathing in to bring it back in, keeping nice and steady. Making sure as we drop the right knee out to the side, the head and shoulders is nice and relaxed. And in to bring it back in. And then let's do the left side. So breathing out, engaging and dropping the left knee out to the side. And then in to bring it back in. Now what we're going to be doing is our single leg dead bug exercise. So with this one, we're going to breathe in to prepare. We breathe out, once again engaging. And we're going to float that right leg up into the tabletop position without your pelvis moving. And then breathing in to bring it back down. Breathing out, left leg floats up. And then breathing in to bring it back down. Now, at the top of your movement with this one, as you breathe out and float up your right leg, what you should notice is that we're at a 90 degree angle here at the hip and the knee, and breathing in to bring it back down. Breathing out to float the left leg up. If we're too high, we tend to go in an imprinted position. We're not targeting the right muscles. And then in to bring it back down. Breathing out with the right side. If you go too low and you're not really going into 90 degrees of hip flexion, then what happens is the hip flexors and your quad muscles work too hard. And once again, as we breathe out and float up the left side, we're not engaging the right muscles as well or as effectively as we could be. We're going to do one more each side, and then we're going to increase the challenge with our double leg dead bugs. And back down. Breathing out to float up. And breathing in to bring back down. All right, let's do our double leg dead bugs now. So watch out with the breathing with this one, because the breathing is slightly different. We breathe out to prepare and engage. Then we breathe in, and we're going to float your right leg up into that tabletop position. As we breathe out, engage a little bit more through those abs and float your left leg up to join it. Breathe in, pause. Breathe out. Right leg floats down, then your left. Breathe out, engage. Let's go with the right leg again. Right leg floats up as we breathe in. Breathe out, left leg floats up. Breathe in, pause. Breathe out, right leg floats down. Breathe in, left leg floats down as well. Let's do two more with the right side. So breathe in, right leg. Breathe out, left. Try not to move the body. We pause, we breathe out. Right leg, breathe in, left. Breathe out, engage. Breathe in, last one on this right side. Right, breathe out, left. Breathe in, pause. We breathe out, right. And then breathe in, left. Now we're going to go to the left and we're going to do 4 on this left side. So same breathing, we breathe out, engage those core muscles. We breathe in, your left leg floats up. We breathe out, work a little bit harder as the right leg joins. Breathe in, pause. We breathe out, left leg. Then breathe in, right leg. Breathe out, engage. Breathe in, left leg. Make sure that back doesn't move as we float up that right leg. And then left leg, then right leg. 2 more to go. Breathing out, breathing in, left, breathing out, right, breathe in, pause, breathe out, and then breathe in. Going up with left, then right, left, then right. 1 more to go. Left, then right, left, then right. We're going to do one more exercise with our legs, but this time we're going to start with our legs up in that tabletop position. If you find that this exercise is too difficult or hurting your back, please do the one that I previously just did. So we're going to float one leg up and then your other. It doesn't matter which leg comes up first. We're going to stay in this position, checking to make sure we're at that 90-90 position there. And then from here, what we're going to do is try and do our toe taps. We're going to do 8. So with this one, we're going to breathe out, engage through those core muscles as we float your right leg down as far as we can, keeping neutral and in to bring it back up. Breathe out, the left leg floats down. You don't have to touch the ground with this one. If you do touch the ground with your right leg, make sure it's not plumping down. Think about the floor is lava. Left and up. Right and up. Left. 1 more each side. Right, keep that back nice and relaxed. Then left. Now what we're going to do is float one leg and then your other leg down into the floor. Now with this one, I do want you to keep your pelvis nice and steady. Your core muscles should definitely be nice and warmed up by now. What we're going to do is our chest lift series. So we're going to interlock your hands, we're going to place them behind your head, we're going to cup the back of your head here. Now your elbows need to be in your peripheral vision, so you should be able to see them out of the corner of your eyes. So with this one, it's like doing a sit-up, but the focus on sliding those ribs down towards your pelvis, and your pelvis stays nice and steady. So we're going to take a breath in to prepare. As we breathe out, we engage through the core, we nod the head, and then we peel the spine up with the focus on the ribs sliding down towards your hips. We take a breath into the back of the ribs, and then we breathe out to roll back down. Take a breath in at the bottom, we breathe out, engage, nod the head a little bit, and then roll the spine, sliding those ribs down towards your hips. We take a breath into the back of the body, and then we breathe out to come back down. Please take note as we breathe out and come on up, that at the top of our movement here, our gaze is just over the top of our knees. We're not looking down towards our tummy, and then breathing out to come back down. And your head should be rested in your hands here. Taking a breath in at the bottom, breathing out, engaging, nod and roll up, sliding those ribs down. Take a breath in and breathe out to roll back down. So the key with this one, guys, is the activation of those abdominal muscles as we tuck and roll back up. We want to make sure that we're not trying to breathe. We're not trying to go too far. It's not about height, it's about control. And breathing out, nod and roll up. Taking a breath in, and then breathing out to roll back down. Let's do another two of these. Taking a breath in, breathing out, nod, engage and roll up, sliding those ribs down. Taking a breath in at the top, and then breathing out to roll back down. And we've got one more to do. Taking a breath in at the bottom, breathing out, engaging, nodding the head, rolling up, sliding those ribs down towards your hips, taking a breath in, and then breathing out to once again roll back down. So that's our chest lift prep, and now we're going to go on to our chest lift full exercise. If you do have a sore neck, you are more than welcome to keep one of your hands behind your head with this exercise. So it starts off exactly the same. We take a breath in. We breathe out, engage, nod the head and roll up. It's at this time when we breathe in, our arms come up and over towards your thighs. We're going to breathe out, go a little bit further. Breathe in, bringing those hands back behind your head, and breathe out to roll back down. We want to make sure that when we breathe in, the body doesn't move except your arms. We're going to breathe out, engage, nod and roll, sliding those ribs down towards your hips. Taking a breath in, up and over. We breathe out a little bit higher. Breathe in, bringing those hands back behind your head, and then breathing out to come back down. Breathing in at the bottom, breathing out, engage and nod, coming on up. Breathing in, up and over. Breathing out, a little bit higher. Breathing in, bringing those hands back, and then breathing out to come back down. Let's do another 5 of these. Breathing out, coming on up. Breathing in, up and over. Remembering keeping one hand if your head's sore, a little bit further. Hands come back and lowering back down. Breathing in, breathing out, coming on up. Over, further, back and down. Coming on up. Hands, further, back and down. 2 more to go. Nod and come on up. In, further, back and down. 1 more. We should be feeling it more in our abdominals now. Tuck and roll. Over, further, back and down. Now what we're going to do here is we're just going to let those do a nice little stretch through our abdomen, and we're going to do our knee rocks. So I'm going to place our hands about 45 degrees away from the body. We're going to bring our feet and our knees together. Now with this exercise, I want everyone to make sure that the head and shoulders are nice and heavy onto the floor. Your feet and your pelvis are allowed to move. With this one, what I would like for you to do is you're going to breathe out, engage through the tummy muscles, and we're going to let our knees fall out to the right side of the body. And your body will start to stretch out. So we're going to go as far as we can, keeping the shoulder down. We're going to take a breath in this position. And then we're going to breathe out, engaging those core muscles again as we bring ourselves back to the center. Breathing in at the top. Breathing out, going to the left side this time, letting the body twist and letting all those muscles through your abdomen and your waist relax. Take a breath in and breathing out, using those tummy muscles to bring you back to the center. Let's go to the right again. So breathing in, then breathing out, going out to the side, breathe in at the side, and then breathing out, back to the center. Breathe in, breathe out as we go out to the left. Breathe in and breathe out, back to the center. Keeping the neck and head and shoulders relaxed as we breathe out and go to the right. Breathe in, pause. Breathe out, back to the center. And what we should find with this one is that as we go along and do more repetitions, as we breathe out and go to the left, we're able to go a little bit further each time as those muscles relax, and breathe out, coming back to the center. Breathing in, one more each side. Making sure we have that pause, then breathing out, back to the center. Breathe in at the top, breathing out over to the left side, breathing in here, and then breathing out back to the center. Now what we're going to be doing is a little bit of our sideline work to get those glutes nice and activated. And I want everyone to lie on, pick a side, because we will be doing both sides here. So I'm going to go on to my left to start with. So with this one, we can have our head resting down on your arm, or you can have your head resting on your hand, whatever feels the most comfortable for you. Now from here, I want everyone's hand to be on their hip, and we're going to have your knees bent. And we're going to start with some clams. So with your clams, I want everyone's feet to be slightly lifted into the air. We're going to breathe out, engage through our core, squeeze the heels together and lift that top knee off the ground. We should be getting those glute muscles working. And then in to bring it back down. We're going to breathe out, tummy, squeeze the heels and lift the knee. And in to bring it back down. Trying to get those glute muscles working. And then lift the knee as we breathe out. And in to lower it down. And lift. And lower. That's it. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Two more. Lift. Doesn't matter how high you go as long as that pelvis is steady. Last one. Lift. Then lower. Now don't drop those heels down yet, because we're going to go up into our clams and we're going to do 8 kicks in our clam position. So what we're going to do with this one is we're going to go out into our clam position, and instead of going back down, when we breathe out, we're going to make sure we're nice and strong through that core, and we're going to kick that top leg up and then in to bring it back. And kick. And back in, making sure that knee doesn't drop down. Kick. And back in. 4. And back in. 5. And back in. 6. And back in. 7. And back in, lucky last. 8. And back in. Drop the knees together and drop the heels on the floor. So that's got now deep glute muscles engaged, let's start working on those side glute muscles, our glute med. Now with this one, you might prefer to have your head down. It is up to you, it's just a little bit easier to control. But we're going to have our hands on our hip to make sure this doesn't move. And we're just going to float that whole leg up in the air. Now, we don't want to be higher than your hip level, we want to be kind of parallel to the floor. Now with this one, without your pelvis moving, we're going to breathe in, folding up the hip to bring the leg forward. And then we're going to breathe out to bring the leg back. Trying to keep your knee in the same position. Breathing in, bringing it forward. Breathing out to bring it back. In to go forward. And breathing out to go back. So you might notice that as you come forward, your core muscle works a little bit harder to keep you nice and stable. And then as you come back, your glute max muscle helps to extend your leg back. In to come forward and out to go back. But the whole time, your pelvis is nice and steady. Forward and back. We have 2 more to go. We should be feeling a little bit of a burn through the side of that hip. And back, 1 more to do. Forward and back. Come back and dropping that leg down. Now from here, what we're going to do is we're going to straighten that bottom leg and then bring your top leg to the front. You might be getting a little bit of a glute stretch, which is perfect. And we're going to bring our head all the way down with our hands in front of us. If your neck doesn't like hanging out to the side here, I would definitely suggest bending it and placing it behind your head like so. That's perfectly fine. And we're going to do 4 book openings. So with your book openings, what we're going to do is we're going to breathe in. That top hand goes up towards the ceiling, keeping your gaze on it, and then behind you. Try and keep your knee on the floor for me. As we breathe out, we're going to squeeze the tongue muscles and bring your hands back together. When I do this exercise, I always like to think about when I breathe in and open, I'm inflating a balloon between my hands and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until it's this big. And then as I breathe out, it's like I'm trying to push the air out of that balloon in between my hands, working, working, working until my hands are together again. Breathing in once again. Up and over. Think about that balloon getting bigger and bigger as we inflate it. And then we breathe it out. We're trying to squeeze all that air back out of that balloon as our hands come back together. And we should do 1 more. And this time, as we breathe in and go over, when we open up, we're going to stay in this position. Now we're going to breathe out and we're going to see if we can drop down a little bit further. Breathing in, stretch and reach a little bit more. And then breathing out, dropping a little bit further. 1 more breath in. And then as we breathe out, squeezing all of that air out of the balloon until your hands are back together. Now let's do all of that on the other side. So now I'm coming onto my right hand side with my knees bent and stacked on one another. Once again, you can either have your head resting on your arm or resting on your hand, and your hand is on your hip. And we're going to start with your 8 clams. So with this one, we're going to have the tummy in and the heels lifted slightly off the floor. We're going to breathe out, engage through your core, squeeze the heels together and lift the knee towards the ceiling and in to bring it back in. You're going to breathe out, squeeze and lift without that pelvis moving and in to bring it back in. We should have 6 more to go. Lift and lower. And 5. Get those glute muscles working and lower. 4. And lower. 3. And lower. 2. And lower. And 1. And lower. And remember, don't drop those heels yet. We're going to do our clam kicks. So we're going to breathe out, engage. We're going to lift that leg up. And now what we're going to do when we breathe out again is we're going to kick that top leg up. So we're going to breathe out, kick, and in to come back in. Try not to move that thigh as little as possible. 2, and kick. 3. Kick as we breathe out. Make sure your core is engaged. Kick. And back. Oh, those glutes should be working. And back, and one more to go. And back. Knees together, then heels down. Now we're going to do our bent knee, forwards and backwards activity. Hand on the hip again. We're going to float that top leg so it is parallel to the ground, making sure our heel or our knee is not higher than each other. We're going to breathe in to bring the knee forward without the pelvis moving, and breathe out to swing it back, just working from your hip joint itself. Breathe in to bring it forward, and breathe out to bring it back. Imagine you have a cup of coffee resting on your knee, and as we bring it forward and back, we don't want any of that delicious coffee to spill out. Breathing in to bring it forward, and breathing out to bring it back. And forward, and back. We should be feeling it around the back side of our glute muscle. Forward, and back. 3 more to go. 3, and back. 2, and back. Lucky last. 1, and back. Once it's back level with the other leg, you can float it back down. So we're going to do our book openings for a nice stretch. So your top leg will be bent and forward and your bottom leg will be straight. Having our head down, we're starting with our hands on top of one another, or your bottom arm rested behind your head, whatever suits your body. We're going to breathe in, the arm reaches up, keeping the gaze on it, and behind you, keeping your knee on the floor. We're going to breathe out, working through those abdominal muscles as we bring your hands back on top of one another. Breathing in, inflating a balloon, and it's getting bigger and bigger between your hands. And then we breathe out, we're trying to squish all the air out of that balloon, working those abdominal muscles. Breathing in, opening up, the chest is expanding, neck is nice and long, and then breathing out, using those abdominal muscles to bring us back to the start. And on this last one, we're going to go out and we're going to do a few breaths in that position. So we're going to breathe in, we're going to be nice and open, except this time when we breathe out, we're just going to relax into it a little bit more. Breathe in, reach a little bit further. Breathe out, relax a little bit more. Breathe in, reach. Breathe out, relax. And on your next exhale, I want everyone to come up and over to your hands are resting on top of each other. Now what we're going to be doing is working on our upper back muscles with a little bit of diamond press. So we're going to roll onto your stomach, and we're going to place our hands like a diamond in line with our forehead. Now with this position, our head will be resting down, and we're only going to be working those muscles and joints in between your shoulder blade muscles. So we don't want to be working here in our low back. So what you're going to do is you're going to breathe out, engage through your abdominal muscles, and then peel your head and chest off the floor, like so. Breathing out, head comes up, keeping it nice and long, and then lifting your chest up. But you can see how my low back has stayed nice and steady. Breathing in at the top, and then breathing out to lower our body back down. So your shoulders should be nice and relaxed. Breathing in. Breathing out, engage your core, head lifts up a little bit, and then we try to lift and peel our sternum off. Now our gaze at the top here when we breathe in is not much further far past your fingertips. And then we breathe out to lower back down. If you are feeling this in your low back as we breathe out and peel the chest off the floor, you might feel beneficial to tuck your pelvis a little bit and squeeze those glutes. And then exhale to come down. Breathing in at the bottom, breathing out, peel and lift. Working those muscles in between your shoulder blades, but no lower. And then breathing out to come back down. You're going to do another 3 of these. Breathing out, come in and lift. Try and keep the creases out of your neck. And then breathing out to deflate back down. Breathing in at the bottom. Breathing out, peeling up. Lifting the chest and the sternum up without working into the low back. And then exhaling again to drop down. And we'll have one more to go. Breathing out, up we come, segment by segment, collarbones are open, and then coming back down. The next exercise we're going to do is like that, but a little bit harder because we're going to add in the arms and the shoulders. So we're going to bring our hands down beside your body. We're going to do a little bit of our dart exercise. So our head position is the same, the movement is the same, except we're going to lift up our arms as well. So we're going to breathe in, prepare. As we breathe out, the shoulders come back, the arms lift off, and we lift off through the chest, keeping the neck nice and long and relaxed. And then we breathe out to come back down again. Breathe in. Breathe out, shoulders, arms, chest. Squeezing those muscles in between your shoulder blades, and then exhaling to come back down again. And you're going to do another 5 of these. Breathing out, tummy, shoulders, arms, chest. Breathe in at the top, and then breathe out to come back down. Breathe in at the bottom, breathe out, shoulders, arms, head and chest, and then exhale to come back down. Lift, and back down. 3 more to go. Lift, and back down. Once again, if you're feeling it in the low back, tuck so the pubic bone's down on the floor, and that will help keep you out of your low back. Lift, squeezing those muscles, and back down. We have 1 more to go. Shoulders, arms, chest, and coming back down. Alrighty then guys, what we're going to do now is a little bit of child's pose to stretch out those muscles. So you're going to push up, tucking those knees in, feet together but knees apart. From here, our hands reach forward and we sit back trying to get our bottom to touch our heels and the head will drop down. In this position, if you're feeling any restrictions, so in your armpits or your back or your hips, I want you to think about sending your breath there. So for example, I feel a bit tight through my armpits today, so I'm going to breathe into my armpits, and then when I breathe out, I'm going to just sink down a little bit further. Breathing into the tight areas. And then as we breathe out, just try to relax those areas more. 2 more breaths. And out. Relaxing, reaching those hands a little bit more if you can. Breathing in. And out. Nice and relaxed. What we're going to do now is we're going to walk those hands over to the left-hand side of your body. And we're going to do the same thing, but this time we're going to be breathing or sending our breath into the right ribs. So we're going to take a deep breath in to the ribs, and we're going to breathe out and relax a little bit more. Breathing into the ribs, and breathing out, relaxing down. And then we're going to walk those hands over to the other side. Once again, taking a deep breath into the ribs, and then breathing out and relaxing back down. 1 more breath, breathing in and out. And then coming up into your kneeling position. And then from here, what you're going to be doing is a hip flexor stretch. So I like to call this group proposal position. We're going to do 1 on each side. So what I would like for you to do, rather than just coming forward and creating this big arch through your back, we're going to just do a little tuck of that pelvis. We're going to squeeze our bottom and we're going to push the top part of our hip forward. Now this will give you a more intense stretch through your hip flexor and quad. We're going to hold this position for a little bit. making sure that our belly button is reaching back to our spine. So we stay in a nice low back position. Just for a few breaths to feel that stretch through here. And then we're going to change sides. Once again, tucking that pelvis, squeezing the glute, and pushing the top part of your thigh forward. Holding this position, making sure that we're not just going into our lower back. Just a little bit more. And then what we're going to do is we're going to call it a day for today with this exercise. And I'm glad that everyone could join me and that you all felt those muscles in your glutes and your core and your upper back work. But until next time, thank you.